I use a sort of a cheat code sometimes of just starting small.
You're writing one screenplay after another that are getting produced. How are you coming up with all these ideas? Can you take us through the process?
Well, I think a big part of it is every time you sit down to pitch, you're coming up with a handful, several ideas. Um, I wouldn't say there's too much of a technique. I definitely have an idea day that I take, and for lack of better terms, I just think. There's definitely, the old, carry around a notepad and write down things that you see. Once in a blue moon, that'll happen. A certain situation you'll see happen in life, like, oh, that's okay. That you could build that out into an actual movie. And then I use a sort of a cheat code sometimes of just starting small. Start with what's the female lead's job. Okay, what is more interesting? What could be more interesting about that? Okay, what is his job? What could be more interesting about those clashing? From there, then just kind of build that out technically into a problem and a story. And so sometimes I just start with a city, a location, and that helps a lot.
Right. Is it always sort of the female that's, quote, married to her job? Does it?
Well, not always.
Okay.
Not always, but yes, it's quite helpful because she sort of needs something that keeps her from just meeting a man right away, and something that's kept her from finding that man if she's such a great woman. At that stage, in her life, it's like, well, she must have something she's so committed to. So it's very helpful, yeah. But not mandatory.
And what jobs are considered safe jobs? Like,
Oh, the old marketing, copywriting, advertising. But that's part of the fun too, is kind of seeing what, could you find a character that we haven't seen, some kind of profession that we haven't seen yet. We've gone through a big trend of podcasts and podcast hosts and things like that. They tend to want to stay away from people that aren't normal people, that aren't just, your average people. They don't like someone who's maybe in the public eye or what have you. I kept trying to pitch a movie forever about a Broadway star that comes home for Christmas, but they tend to really want just normal people.
Yeah, I watched one about a country western star that goes back to the small town, and I think walks in the church and there's whispers already, and it had me for 2 hours. And I'm not always searching those out, but it was great, and just like sort of left a string of an angry ex-boyfriend that felt guilted because she left for stardom, and the manager that was controlling her, and it was good, so it worked. But yeah, that's interesting.
But something I'll say too is that every production company, every distribution company, they're all different. They all have things that they have branded for their network or their company, and so I can't really make a blanket statement about any of it. And I think when we are seeing 40 to 80 Christmas movies a year, or even more, there's going to be a need for some different types of outside of the box ideas.
Right, but she has to be relatable. Is that right?
It's, in my experience, that's preferred. But then again, you'll have a princess, which I've written as well, and of course she's not relatable. So, but that being a princess, of course, that comes with a bunch of built-in obstacles.
Right.
Her life isn't normal.
Sure. But yeah, maybe there's a relatable sort of personality quirk or something.
Yeah,
or
for sure.
Insecurity or imposter syndrome.
If she's a princess, she's a cool princess.
Right.
she's not a stuffy, unrelatable princess. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you have one of your idea days, which I love, actually you could put that in a rom-com.
Yeah, for sure.
The idea day guy meets another, person that's having an idea day. But do you go somewhere sometimes so you can kind of filter out life?
Sometimes I sometimes just like to get on with it and just sit and think. Maybe in the simplest terms, imagination. Use your imagination like a kid. I will sometimes, by nature, I'm out and about writing and doing things like that. So yes, I definitely may get away from it all a little bit in that sense. But also, I think anything can really spark your idea if you just kind of build it out long enough, and then maybe it doesn't work, and then you move on to the next. Fortunately, so far, been able to kind of keep those ideas and imagination turning, and then I'll take old ideas and switch them around a lot. Of course, that comes into play with Christmas or something else. If you have something that wasn't a Christmas story, but you need to have a Christmas story, you can, oh, how does this one, oh, that one does work for that. And then some don't, and vice versa. So in that sense, sometimes it's taking an old idea and making it new.
Right, like adding in social media that maybe, who knows however long something was written. But...
Yeah, for sure. Even switching the leads around or something, or like I said, location, making it sort of the same bones of the story, but in a whole new location can change everything.
And are there certain parameters for like the home life of the protagonist? Usually the place always looks great.
Yeah, I think for Christmas movies, for sure, Christmas is very different in the sense that we're watching them most likely at Christmas, and it's a very, home family time of the year, and I think the movies, usually represent that. And if you're doing one at a home, it's nice for it to be, cozy and Christmassy.
Sure. Yeah, it's almost like having your own sort of tree decorated when you're watching somebody with this like beautiful mantle. And
exactly. Yeah, you get to kind of experience Christmas like twice or 40 times a year. Is how many movies are now. Yeah.
Right. In different settings. You said you have these idea days. Do you also have binge days where you binge watch thrillers and rom-coms?
I've had sort of binge days where when a particular rom-com, let's say a princess story or a Christmas story, and I definitely want to get an idea of the last several that were successful, or maybe they even compared it to, I definitely will watch those for sure. And I think in general, just all good writing, all good, content, any good show or film is helpful.
Out of curiosity, what are some of your maybe few favorite rom-coms or thrillers?
Well, my all-time favorite rom-com, which I don't know if it's always considered that, is Annie Hall, Woody Allen, and then of course When Harry Met Sally. Very traditional here. All Hugh Grant movies.
Sure.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
My favorite, what I consider a rom-com, which is sort of more of a dramedy as a TV show, is Catastrophe on Amazon. Sort of has gone under the radar, but I think it's the best show ever done. So those are, but I think it's very helpful just to see great writing, and when we talk about ideas, sometimes that comes from another show, not their idea, but you'll see something on TV that sparks an idea. Oh, you can take that and turn that into a whole story. Yeah.
And thrillers?
Thrillers, I definitely watched to stay on top of the genre and did a lot of research on when I was really starting with them. As far as some of the old 90s like studio thrillers, those were great. We don't really get many of those anymore. We get more like horror genre, it seems, nowadays. But I definitely had days of studying that genre as well. Yeah. Right. Which is easy to do. There's hundreds of them out there.